Hello guys! In this Patreon-only tutorial we will draw a cute fluffy flying monster using new cartoon felt brushes. Please make sure to download the tutorial files, and if you are ready, let's grab our pencils and get started. The size of the canvas is 2000 by 2500 pixels, DPI 300. As I promised, today we're gonna play around with the new cartoon felt brushes, so you get the idea of how most of them work and you'll be able to create your own fluffy characters easily. Besides that, I've made a color palette featuring some of my new dear patrons. Hope seeing your name will put a smile on your face at least. Right now, let's go to the brush set and select a brush for drawing. It will be artificial fur with secondary color. This one. To use this color dynamics feature, we should pick two colors. So let's go to the color disk. Tap on the right side first and pick Nettie. Then tap on the left and select Josepha. They will be set as primary and secondary colors respectively. Now we only need to set the brush size to around 42% or so and draw a simple shape for the body of our monster character. We can make it look like a fluffy egg or potato. So I will first create the outlines. We can adjust it. And due to the secondary color, it will already get some volume. We only need to paint the area inside. I will make strokes like this. On top first, and then at the bottom. Let's continue and finish the entire shape like this. We also need to consider the location of the eyes. So I think I will go up from here. Let's paint it in the middle. And in the end we will get a fluffy shape like this, with very soft texture. Even though I called it artificial fur, I think it looks quite realistic. But it will look even better after shading. For now I'd like to add more shapes. Starting with ears. So let's go to the layers. Create another one and place it below the shape. For the ears I'm going to change the brush. Let's find it in the set. I want to use Super Fluff. But if we try it, it'll go down like this. If we make stroke going up, it'll change the direction. Actually, we could use it like this as well. But if you want to change the direction and make it more handy for you, you can do this. Duplicate this brush, open it, go to Shape section and rotate it to -180 degrees. Now it'll work like this. So we can draw the ears. Let's only change the color to Emma. It is slightly darker. Let's try to set the size to around 10% and draw two shapes on the sides. For the ears, we can only increase pressure while going down to achieve this result. I only want to keep the edges fluffy, and in the center we can make it opaque. So I will just make more strokes. Let's do the same on the right side. I'm not copying this ear on purpose, so they will look slightly different. And the monster won't look too perfect. More realistic. Making more strokes here as well. We can even make the size smaller to work on these tips. And it will be enough. Now let's add even more shapes on top. So I will create another layer right above this one, and in the colors I will select Josepha. We can now go to Ink Inset and select Technical Pen, or you can use Monoline from Calligraphy if you like. The size is set to 14%, and I will draw two shapes like this. Let me fill this one and draw one more on the right. If they look slightly different, it is totally fine, as I said. It will be even better. Okay, now these shapes are ready too. Let's keep it like this for now. And also add arms, wings and legs without shading. I'd like to start with the arms, so we can create one more layer and with the same color and using same brush, draw shapes for the arms. Let's place them somewhere in the center of the body. I will start with the left one, on the left side. Just draw a line like this with a small angle. And I think we can make 4 fingers instead of 5, since he is an alien. Very simple. Let's draw another one. And then finish this line. That will go to the right. I will try to make it parallel. Then connect it. Make sure we don't have any gaps between the fingers. All lines are smooth. And now we can try to fill it. And adjust color drop threshold if needed. Okay, just a couple of more adjustments. And I will keep it without shading for now. To draw the second arm, I will flip the canvas. We can do it here in the actions. So we can draw another arm. And I will try to make it similar. But maybe slightly different. Drawing these 4 fingers. The last one. And another line. Connecting it. And dragging the color. Let me also adjust the lines here. Just making them smooth. And the shading will be done later. Let me flip it back. Now we can also draw the legs using fur brush. So I will create a new layer, can be located above this one. Let's continue using artificial fur with secondary color. And make sure we have these 2 colors selected. These are Josepha and Nettie. We just need to make the size smaller, since the shapes will be small. I think around 25% will work. I will just draw 2 rounded triangles that are slightly seen behind the body, like this, at the lower edge. Make a few strokes. Let's draw another one on this side. And they are ready. Let's draw the feet as well. We can continue using Josefa color, but create a new layer. It will be located below. In the recent brushes, I will select Technical Pen and draw two more simple shapes. Each of them will have 3 toes. Drawing an arc on top and then 3 more at the bottom. Let me fill it and draw another one. Very similar. We need to connect it and drag the color. Let's make adjustments if needed. And I will move them a bit up. Like this. I think we can also go to the layer with the fur. At my end it is layer number 5. And I will just duplicate it to make it less transparent. Now I will merge these two. And it looks better. I think in the next step we can draw the wings. For that I will create a layer below all layers, in case they will intersect with the ears, so it needs to be located behind. The wings will have a few layers. So let's continue using this color in the brush and draw a shape reminding wings of a bat. Let me start from here, somewhere between the ear and the arm. Make a curve going up and then to the right. I will make a rounded corner like this and draw another parallel curve. Let's connect it here. Also behind. And fill. Let me adjust it quickly. Making smooth lines. Maybe we can make it a bit more pointy. And after that, add more shapes. But I will add them on another layer to make the shading easily later. Let me create it. I will place it below this one and draw 2 more rounded triangles. One of them will start from this corner and go down. Let's also connect the invisible part and then fill. On the same layer I will draw another shape, somewhere here, and it will be shorter, but still look like a triangle. Let's also fill this one, but before that we need to connect it and adjust. I will make these lines more straight and tips more pointy. Alright, I think now it is fine. We only need to connect them with more arcs, but also on another layer. I'm creating it below this one. Now let's go to the color palette and select color Gloria. Start drawing these arcs. I will start from this tip, draw it this way. We can use quick shape tool here to make it perfect. Then also edit. Draw one more from here. I will also make it more rounded. And draw the last one, connecting it with the body. It may go up like this. Let me also edit it a little. I will make sure I connected them all. And then also draw on top. Connect all the lines and fill. I think we can save some time if we shade this wing and later duplicate it. So I will keep it like this for now. And before we proceed to shading, I think we can add some facial features. For example, his eyes, teeth and mouth. And for that we need to create a layer above the body. In order not to get so confused, let's go to this layer, starting from 7 to 9. I will select them and group. It will be the group for the wings. We can even rename it. Then I will select these two, number 2 and 3, also group, and call it ears. All others can be kept separately for now. So let's go to the new layer and start drawing one of the eyes. Let's start with white color that we can pick right from the background. Then go to airbrushing set and select medium hard airbrush to get soft edge. I've set the size to 38% and we only need to draw an oval on the side. Pay more attention to its left side, because the right one will be covered by the eyelids. So we will get something like this. To draw the eyelids, I will create another layer, right above this one. Let's change the color to Casey. And grab technical pen. Here the size can be set to around 7%. Let's start with the upper eyelid. I will first draw an arc starting from the left edge of this white area. Go to the right side. Then a little down. Let's connect them. And draw two more arcs at the lower part. We can use quick shape tool here. After that, draw another one. Let's try to fill it. And adjust the edges. just making them smooth here. And they need to match on the edge. So the white part is inside. We can make this part thinner. And now it is fine, I think. We can draw an iris. For that I will create another layer. And to draw an iris, we will be using these four colors, starting from Hailey and ending with Jane. So first I'm selecting this dark one. Switching back to medium hard airbrush. And drawing a circle inside. I will lower the size to 31%. This way we will get soft edge as well. We can move it if needed or scale. I will place it here. We can actually draw on the same layer with the next color called Hillary. But I will make the size even smaller, at around 28%, and draw like this. Just keeping a tiny border of dark color. As you see, everything is very soft due to the brush. After that we can select this dark color called Christine. Make the size smaller and apply it on top. Then select this light color called Jane and add it at the bottom, but with the size that is even smaller, like this. Before we add the texture to make the eyes realistic, let's draw a pupil, also on another layer. I'm creating it here, above this one. Let's go to the color disk and select black color by double tapping here at the bottom. After that I will draw another circle here. Let's make it big enough. Alright, now it's time to add the texture. For the texture I will create one more layer that will be located between these two. Let's clip it so it doesn't go outside, and set the layers mode to overlay. Now let's click here on the menu. In the actions I will select canvas and then drawing guide. I'd like to use symmetry, so let's click edit drawing guide, select symmetry option, tap here and pick radial. Now we can move it in the center of the pupil, like this, and click done. Since we have black color selected, let's start with it. To pick a brush I will go to painting set and select flat brush, but I will be using it at a very low size, like 1 or 2%. With low pressure, start drawing many lines, like this, at some distance from each other. We can also add them at the bottom, And once we have black color, let's also add some white. I will pick it from this area. And start drawing. In the end we will get this texture. That will make our eye look more realistic. Maybe we can make the size even smaller and apply more pressure, like this. I think this will be enough. All we need to do is add a light reflection. So with the same white color, I will create another layer above the pupil. Let's go back to medium hard airbrush and draw a small circle. For that I've set the size to 6% and I will draw like this. Let me try to duplicate it and apply Gaussian blur to one of the layers. I've set the amount to 3%. Then we can also duplicate the layer to make it shine brighter. I will just reduce the opacity a little bit. Now we can merge all the layers, starting with the iris and ending with light reflection. Actually, we can try to add shading on this white area. We don't need the grid anymore. I'm going to this layer number 10, creating another one above it, and clipping. Let's select Samantha color. And also soft brush. It is just slightly softer than the previous one. Let's select the brush size. I think it can be set to around 3% and start painting on the left side with very low pressure, like this. I will also paint at the bottom and go a little upper here, in this corner. Now we can make the size a bit smaller and press a little more, like this. Just draw another arc. Let's darken it here a bit more. And after that we can try to shade the eyelids. I will just blur it a little bit like this to make a smooth transition. And actually one of the eyes is almost ready. Let's merge these two layers and go to the layer with the eyelid. Let's create a new layer above it and then clip. First I'd like to set it to soft light. And if it's not enough, later we can change it to overlay. This is one of my favorite ways to add shading. So I will start with white color. Let's select it and use soft brush, but at a low size, so it is not very soft. 2% is enough. First of all, let's highlight this part, like this. I'm applying it at the lower edge of the upper eyelid. Make an arc like this. After that I will also apply it at the bottom. Go up to this corner. Alright, after we did that, we can switch to black to shade darker parts. I will put it here, on top of the upper eyelid, on this corner, go down. Maybe we can increase the size slightly, and paint at the bottom here as well. I will press more to get a darker shade. Just like this. If we press more, the edge will be less soft. Now let's add this color here, at the very edge. Maybe we can make it a little bit blurry. So I'm applying it with a lower pressure and going a little down in the corner. Well, I think it is enough here. We can merge these two layers. To make it look natural, let's do a few steps. First, I will add a layer mask to the current layer. So let's tap on it and select mask. Black color is already selected. We just need to pick a fur brush. Let's select artificial fur without any color dynamics. The size can be set to 30%. I will rotate it slightly and start making strokes. Try to follow the direction of the fur. Like this. Let's also make a couple of strokes here on top to make the edge drown inside the fur. If we make the size smaller, we can work more on the edge. Alright, I think it looks quite nice now. We can only add more shadow. And for that we need to create a layer right above the body. I will also use black color and set this layers mode to overlay. Also go to change the brush to soft brush instead of fur. Let me increase the size a little bit and start drawing here, on top of the eye and also here at the bottom, under it. So it's like we already started shading of the fur. Let's check it. I think it looks quite nice here. So we can actually duplicate all these layers. But before that, I will group them. Like this. Now we can duplicate the entire group. Flip one of them horizontal. Enable magnetics in the snapping settings. And move it to the right. Like this. Try to make it fully symmetrical. Now the eyes are completely ready. Let's draw the mouth before shading the body. For that I will first create another layer right here, above layer number 1. Let's also pick Jason color, which is rather dark. We can try to select technical pen or monoline. I prefer technical pen here. Let's keep it simple and just draw an arc. I've set the brush size to 17%. I will start from here under the eye, go to the right side, and wait a second to make the quick shape tool work. After that we can edit the shape. And draw two small arcs on the sides. To make him cheerful and kind. I think he actually looks very friendly, not like a real monster. To remove the sharpness, we can go to Adjustments and blur it at a very tiny amount, like 2%, and also duplicate it. Then merge. This way the line will be smooth, but rather opaque. I think before we continue shading, we can already go ahead and change the background color. I will select Jason. And the entire look of the drawing will change, including its atmosphere. In the next step, I'd like to draw his teeth. And for that I will create a layer below the mouth. We can start with white color. And draw two similar shapes. That will go up. Let's make them rounded. I will consider the distance, so they also look symmetrical. Now let's connect them both at the lower edge and fill. I think we can shade them right away. We can either alpha lock the layer, but I prefer creating another one and clipping. Let's also use the same color for shading as we used on the eyes. It's called Samantha. I'm selecting soft brush here. The size is set to 3%. And with very low pressure, I will start drawing around the tooth. Let's go to the right side and shade it more. On the edge I will apply more pressure to make it darker. Now let's do the same on the second tooth. I will also start from this side, go a little to the right, then down and to the left, like this. Let's press more here, and to add volume, I will switch back to white. Add reflected light here, on the side and on top. Same on this one. Now it is much better. We can continue adding even more shading. And before we work on the big part, I think we can finish the wings. So we can merge these two layers for the teeth. Open a group with the wing. And first work on this pink part. Let me create another layer above it, clip, and change the color. I will select Brittany here. And work with soft brush again. I will just increase the size a little bit. And start shading these areas around the shapes. Around this triangle. On the right side. Go more to the right. And add another triangle. Now let's paint here in this gap. Go more to the right. And add a stroke at the lower part. I think we can make it a bit darker. Like this. So I've set the brightness to 46%. It looks better. But to add even more shading, I'm going to create one more layer. Also clipping it. And this time I will set it to hard light. Also switch to black. Let's make the size a bit smaller. And shade more in the corners. Like this. Go along this line. Also paint here, just to get a darker color. I will apply it here on the right side. Go down. And finish it like this. I think I will just lower the opacity a little bit. To around 77%. When this part is ready, we can merge these three layers and continue shading the blue parts. I will start with this one, also creating another layer above it, then clipping and selecting Netty color. Let's apply it at the lower edge. This way. I will first apply low pressure. Paint approximately half of the shape. Go down. After that we can make the size smaller. And press more. Let's also try to add a highlight using Jill. And of course we need to apply it on the opposite side. So I'm painting here, on the upper edge. Let's go down a little bit. And I think after that we can also apply texture, since we didn't do it in the beginning. So we can totally merge these two layers. I'll create another one, clip it, and set it to overlay. That can be later changed to soft light, if it is too intense. So let's start with dark color, can be black, and as the texture, I'm going to use one of the brushes from Materials. For example, Rough Skin. The size is set to 13%. And I will start adding the texture here, at the bottom, to make it even darker. We can also change the pressure while doing it. So I will darken the edge more. And after that switch to white. To apply it on the opposite edge. So it will also get textured. These two colors may intersect. Maybe I will apply more black on the tip. Like this. When it is ready, we can also merge these two layers. And now work on these two. So I will be doing all the same. First creating a new layer and clipping it. Starting with Netty. And applying it with a soft brush. Here on the left side. And on this one. Now we can add Jill on the right. Just a little bit. So we have some space for the texture. Now I'm creating a new layer for that. Let's also clip it. And set to overlay. First I will grab black color. And rough skin. I will apply it on the left. Press more on the edge. Let's also paint here, on the second shape. I will also darken the edge more on the left. And after that select white. Just making a stroke like this. We will get a subtle texture and also shading. Now the wing is absolutely ready. We can merge these layers and after that duplicate the group. Let's flip it and drag to the left. Also try to make it symmetrical. If you don't have enough space here, you can select the entire drawing and move it. I think this is what I will do. Alright. Now it is fine. Let's continue our shading. And next I think I will work on the ears. So let's go to this group. And before shading, let's go to this layer, number 3. And add a layer mask to it. I just want to make these edges fluffy. Black color is selected. So we only need to go to the brush set with Cartoon Fur and select this Super Fluff brush that we used to paint the fur. Let's set the size to 7% and make strokes like this around the edges. Here I'm using a layer mask in order not to damage the shapes, but still adding textures. Let's also do it here. Since we selected the original brush, we need to make the strokes going up. Like this. Now these edges are also fluffy, so we can proceed to shading. I will merge it with the layer mask, and after that alpha lock. Let me select Netty color and also soft brush. I will start darkening the areas inside. This way. Let's also do it here. We can apply even more pressure. And after that add the textures. Same as we used on the wings. For that I will create another layer and add a clipping mask. Let's also set it to overlay mode. Start with black color and grab this rough skin. But I will make the size a bit smaller. Let's add more shading here. On this ear. Darken it on the edge, on top. And after that select white. Just make a stroke like this for the highlight. These two colors may intersect as well. When this part is done, I'm merging the layers and go into the layer with the fur. I will also alpha lock it first. We can pick the color right from here or from the color palette. But this time I will use Super Fluff with multiply mode. Start making strokes up for the shading. Due to the layers blending mode, we will get a darker color. And if we put the pencil up and draw again, it will get even darker. So it is very easy to use. On the tips on the ears, I will apply rose color, which is pinkish. So I will go back to this brush without any multiply mode and just draw on top. And also on the edge. Alright, now the ears are also ready. We can actually flatten the group. And now I think it's time to shade the body, since you've been waiting for it. Okay, I'm going to this layer and then creating another one above it. Let's also clip it. I will try to set it to overlay mode. And in the color palette, I will select Shelby color. But then I will also change the brush to artificial fur, without any color dynamics. The size is at 66%, and I will start applying it on the right side. With low pressure first, and do it gradually. Making arcs like this. I also tried to match it with the fur that we created first, so it goes exactly in the same direction. Let me make a few more strokes from here. Very low pressure. And after that I will change the color to Jason. Apply it closer to that edge. The sharpness of the fur also depends on the pressure. So if we apply it more, the texture will be more sharp. But still I'm trying to do it gradually. After we apply this dark color, we can create a layer between these two, and it will be clipped right away. Let's set it to screen mode, which makes the colors lighter, and also select Gel. With very low pressure, I will start applying it on the left side, also matching it with the fur. So I'm following the same direction. Let me make a few more strokes here, in the center, and then I will press more. Like this. So it will get even more fluffy and get volume. We only need to add the reflected light on the dark side. And for that we need a layer in normal mode. Let's create it above this one. Then clip it. And select Rough. I will apply it very close to the edge. First low pressure again. To blend the texture. And on the very edge I will press more. To make it sharp and more highlighted. I think it looks very cool. Just adding a bit more highlight. And it is almost ready. Let's not forget to shade the area around the teeth and mouth. We can actually merge these layers and then create one more layer. I will set it to overlay mode as well. Let's first grab black color from the color disk and switch to soft brush. To be more accurate, I'm going to use selection. It is in freehand mode and without color fill. Let's outline the area like this. Inside the mouth. I will follow this line here. Then go upper and connect it. Let's tap on the brush now and start painting here, inside the selection. We can go up a little with low pressure and also paint around the teeth to add a cast shadow. This way. Let's have a look at it. We can darken the edge a bit more. And now it is ready. Let's remove selection and change the color to white. I will tap on this icon again, and this time outline the area under the mouth. To highlight it, let's go down like this. Tap on the brush then, and start highlighting. After that, I will switch back to black color and paint more closer to the edge. Maybe we can make the size smaller. Also paint in the corners. And make a line like this. Let's remove selection and see. I think it looks quite natural. Now we only need to paint arms and legs. And I think we can start with the arms. So let's go to this layer. Then I will create another one above it. And add a clipping mask. Let's start shading with Netty color. And to be more accurate, also use selection. First, I will separate this finger from the arm. Like this. Tapping on the brush now. And applying a color like this. At the lower edge. Now we can select Shelby and add it here. Let's do the same on the second arm. I will go back to the previous color and use selection. First paint this way on the edge and then add Shelby. Now let's work on the fingers. I want to shade them one by one. So let me select Netty color again. And we can try to make the size low instead of using selection. So let me shade it this way. Each finger. Here. Then also this one. And then like this. Let me do it here. Exactly the same way. Then on this one. And one more. After that, I will also add a highlight using Jill. Just make the size a bit bigger and make a stroke on each arm. like this. To add a highlight, I don't want to make it very detailed, so you get the idea. Actually, we can also try to add a texture on it. So I will merge these two layers, then create another one, clip, and set to overlay. Let me start with black color and select rough skin texture. Let's apply it here at the bottom. On each finger. And after that add white. We can also try to add reflected lights. For the volume, let's do it here. And it will be enough. Let's also work on the legs quickly. We can totally merge these two layers. And first I will work on the fluffy part of the legs. It's this layer number 5. So I'll create a layer above it. Then clip it. And do the same as we did on the big part. So I will set it to overlay. Let's start with Shelby. And go back to artificial fur, but at a low size. I think around 30%. So we can apply it here on the right side. Then pick a darker color called Jason and shade it even more. Also paint on top for the cast shadow. Now let's select Jill color, create a layer between these two, and set it to screen to highlight the left side. And in the end, add rose color for the light reflection. For that I will create a layer on top, above the dark layer. Let's clip it and keep it in normal mode. Just make a stroke like this on each side. Finally, let's work on the small parts. So I'm merging these layers and go into the layer with the feet. Let me also create another one above it. Then I will clip it and start shading with Netty color. Also select soft brush. I will add a cast shadow, then darken the right edge, and do it on each finger. We can now create one more layer, then clip it, set to overlay mode to add the texture. I will start with black. Selecting rough skin brush, and adding a dark color like this. You can do it at the bottom and on the right side. Now let's switch to white. Highlight the left side. Also here in the center. And with a very small size, we can add reflected light for the volume. Let's also do it here. I will paint in the center. And these are ready as well. We can proceed to the background. Let me merge these layers. And if you have too many layers, you can simply merge them all. But I will keep it. Actually, before we add more colors on the background and the shadow, I think we can add some sharpness to the drawing, because when you post on Instagram, it may get a little bit blurry. So to keep the fur texture, let's do this. I will merge only these layers that include fur. Go to Adjustments and apply Sharpen. So he will look more sharp and fluffy, like this. Now let me create a layer below all layers. I will set it to overlay mode. And using white color, I will paint with soft brush. Just make the size big. And start making strokes around the character. We can blur it a little bit. And if you like, you can duplicate it. Let's see. I will lower the opacity of one of the layers. Like this. For the shadow, I will first remove the background. Also these two layers. After that, go to Actions, Add Copy Canvas, and Paste. We will get all the layers on one layer. Let's bring back these two, and also background. Then go back to Adjustments, and make this layer dark. So I will set brightness to none, or almost none. Now we can use distortion. We don't need magnetics, so I will just drag it like this. We assume the light comes from here, so the shadow goes to the right. We can make it bigger and with an angle. Let's move it a little. And after that, blur. I will set the amount to 6%. But then make it a bit lighter. Around 50%. So now it is almost ready. We can only try to adjust the colors. We can now copy the entire canvas simply by swiping the fingers down, clicking Copy All, then again, and paste. It works exactly same as copy canvas from here. Let me drag this layer on top of all layers. And now we can play around with colors. I'm going to Adjustments and selecting Color Balance. I will move the slider to cyan a little. This one will go to magenta. And this one to yellow. I think now it looks even better. So at this point, we can consider the drawing finished. I hope you had fun drawing this character with me. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments. And if you post your drawing on Instagram, make sure to tag me so I can see it. Thank you for watching and see you soon!